The monitor screamed first. Not a human scream. Worse, a machine announcing that a living body had started losing the argument. "VTAC!" someone shouted. Samira Ali's hands were already moving. Gloves on, bed down, crash cart rolling like a weapon into battle. A man, mid-50s, expensive haircut, donor bracelet flashing bright orange, jerked once and then went frighteningly still. "Pulse?" the resident yelled. Sam pressed 2 fingers to the carotid. Nothing. "No pulse. Start compressions." Sam climbed onto the stool and drove her weight into his chest, hard, fast, counting under her breath like prayer. 1, 2, 3, 4. The room snapped into that ER rhythm, a dance that only looks chaotic if you don't know the steps. "Charging to 200. Clear!" The shock lifted the man's body off the mattress by an inch. His eyes stayed open. Sam hated that part. The attending barged in, Dr. Hargrove, calm as a man watching someone else drown. "What happened?" Hargrove asked. "Sudden arrest," Ben Klein said, breathless. "He was stable 10 minutes ago." Sam didn't stop compressions. "He got meds." "What meds?" Hargrove's eyes cut toward Sam, too sharp. Ben looked at the chart on the computer and froze. It says morphine and—" Sam's arms didn't slow, but her stomach dropped. "I didn't give morphine!" The room's noise narrowed into a tunnel. The pharmacist's voice from the doorway. "Who scanned it?" Ben swallowed. "It's logged under Sam Ali's badge." Sam's hands kept pushing, but her mind split in 2. One half doing her job, the other screaming. "I didn't scan anything," Sam said. "I was in trauma too." Hargrove stepped closer, voice low so only she could hear. "Sam, watch your tone." Her tone? The patient's skin was turning gray and he was worried about her tone? "Time of death?" Ben's voice cracked as he read the time. And in the exact second the monitor went flat, Sam looked up and saw something she could never unsee. Across the room, behind the glass, her best friend Rena, charge nurse, ride or die, the one who braided Sam's hair before double shifts, was staring at her like she just watched Sam push the knife in. Rena's face wasn't shocked, it was resigned, as if this had been decided before Sam ever walked into the room. Smash cut to 12 hours earlier. Sam's ER shift started the way the best disasters always do, with laughter that didn't know it was temporary. Rena dumped Sam's shoulder at the nurse's station. "New scrubs. Look at you. You trying to get poached by Northwestern?" Sam smirked. "I'm trying to survive this place." Ben appeared, coffee in hand, hair still damp like he'd sprinted from the resident lounge. "If you two are done flirting, we've got a full waiting room and a psych hold trying to eat the call bell." Sam rolled her eyes, but it warmed her chest. Ben was newish, still earnest, still allergic to cynicism. He and Sam worked well together because he listened, actually listened when she spoke. It was rare. Rena leaned closer, voice dropping. "VIP coming in. Rumor is big donor. Dr. Hargrove is already in a mood." Sam's smile slipped. A mood like save the patient or a mood like save the hospital? Rena's eyes flicked away for half a second. "Just be careful today." That should have been nothing, a normal warning, but it landed wrong, like someone saying don't go in the basement while smiling. Sam's phone buzzed, a text from her little brother, Amir. "Need you later. Promise you won't be mad." Sam typed back, "Depends. Are you alive?" No reply. Sam shoved the phone away as the ambulance radio crackled. Incoming chest pain, orange bracelet, special handling. Rena's voice went brisk. "Positions, let's go." And Sam felt it, the subtle shift in the air when the hospital decides one patient matters more than others. The VIP arrived like a storm wearing cologne. Private security, a well-dressed woman crying but controlled, a man in expensive suit sweating through designer fabric, clutching his chest like it offended him. Ben stepped in, calm voice, practiced hands. "Sir, I'm Dr. Klein. Tell me your pain." 10, he hissed. "Do something." Sam started the IV, quick and clean. "Any allergies?" The wife snapped. No one asked him these questions at the other place. They just handled it. Sam kept her face neutral. "We handle it too, safely." The wife's eyes flicked to Sam's badge. Not friendly, not grateful, measuring. Dr. Hargrove entered, and the room went quiet, like someone had lowered a volume knob. "Mr. Larkin," Dr. Hargrove said smoothly, "you're in good hands." Sam noticed what Hargrove didn't say. "You're in my hands." Ben ordered labs and meds. Sam moved like she always did, efficient, focused, except now she could feel the wife watching her with that cold scrutiny reserved for people you plan to blame later. Sam caught Rena outside the room. "What's the deal?" Rena's smile was too bright. "He's important, that's all." Sam held her gaze. "Important patients still bleed. They still die." Rena's voice softened. "Exactly, so don't give anyone an excuse." An excuse? Sam's skin prickled. Inside, Ben whispered to Sam while the wife stepped out to take a call. "Hargrove's acting like this guy's the mayor." Sam muttered, "Donors run this city more than mayors do." Ben's eyes met hers, serious. "If anything feels off, tell me." Sam almost laughed. In this place, something always feels off. But as she said it, she saw Hargrove open the chart and type fast, too fast, like he already knew what he wanted the story to say. The shift got ugly in the usual way. Too many patients, too few beds, too much noise. Sam floated between rooms, suturing a teenager's eyebrow, calming a panicked mom, catching a confused elderly man trying to leave with his IV still in. At 6:12 p.m., Trauma 2 rolled in. Motor vehicle crash, hypotensive, blood everywhere. Sam ran point. Rena shouted orders. Ben assisted, eyes sharp. For 8 solid minutes, Sam didn't leave Trauma 2. She knew because she counted compressions on a different patient. She knew because she held suction while a surgeon cursed. She knew because her hands were shaking when it was over. When the trauma stabilized, Sam sprinted back toward the VIP pod and saw Dr. Hargrove standing at the medication dispensing cabinet. Not usual, except Hargrove wasn't logged in, and the cabinet drawer slid open anyway. Sam slowed. Hargrove's body blocked the screen, but Sam caught a flash. Admin override. Ben came up beside her. "You okay?" Sam forced a nod, but her heart was thudding. Hargrove glanced over, eyes flat. "Nurse Ali, need something?" Sam's mouth went dry. "No, doctor." Hargrove watched her a moment too long, then turned back to the cabinet, hand disappearing into the open drawer. Ben leaned toward Sam, whispering, "Did you see that? He didn't badge in." Sam whispered back, "Yeah." Ben's eyes narrowed. "That's not nothing." Sam's stomach tightened. Hospitals ran on rules until rules got in the way of money. Rena appeared between them like a curtain. "Sam, bed 3 needs discharge paperwork. Ben, Hargrove wants you in VIP." Ben hesitated, then went. Sam stared after him, uneasy. Rena's voice was low. "Don't start a war you can't finish, okay?" Sam snapped. "What are you talking about?" Rena's eyes flicked away again. "Just do your job, please." Please. That was new. Around 9 p.m., the VIP patient, Mr. Larkin, seemed improved. Pain down, vitals okay. The wife finally unclenched her jaw. Sam felt her breathe for the first time in hours. Then the monitor changed its mind. Alarms, a drop in pressure, a rhythm that looked wrong. Ben rushed in, and Sam followed. Within minutes, they were back at the scene from the cold open. Compressions, shock, shouting, sweat. And then the words that ended careers. Time of death? Silence followed, thick and unreal. The wife's scream came a second later, high and ragged and furious. "What did you do?" Sam stepped back, stunned, chest heaving, arms burning. Ben stared at the MAR screen and went pale. "It shows morphine and another med administered at 8:07. Sam's voice shook. "I didn't give morphine." The pharmacist's voice from the doorway. "Who scanned it?" Ben swallowed. "It's logged under Sam Ali's badge." Sam's hands kept pushing, but her mind split in two. One half doing her job, the other screaming. "I didn't scan anything," Sam said. "I was in trauma 2. Rena burst in, face tight. "What's happening?" The wife pointed at Sam like a weapon. "That nurse killed him." Sam turned to Rena, desperate. "Tell them! You know where I was!" Rena's eyes locked on Sam's, and for one unbearable beat, Rena said nothing. That beat lasted longer than any shock. Ben looked between them, confused. "Rena?" Rena finally spoke, voice careful. "Sam, you stepped out for a minute. I assumed you were fine." Sam stared at her. "A minute?" Rena's gaze dropped. "Maybe you don't remember." Sam's throat closed. This wasn't confusion. This was positioning. Hargrove's voice cut through the room, calm and final. "Everyone step back. We will review. For now, Nurse Ali, go to the supervisor's office." Sam's hands shook. "I didn't do this."
Hargrove didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. "Sam, don't make it worse." Ben stepped forward. "Dr. Hargrove, she was with us in trauma too. She couldn't—" Hargrove's eyes snapped to Ben. "Dr. Klein, enough." Ben stopped, jaw clenched, like he'd just been reminded who held his future. Sam watched that calculation flicker on Ben's face. Fight now and lose everything, or stay quiet and keep climbing. Sam hated that she understood it. Rena touched Sam's elbow lightly. "Come on." Sam recoiled. "Don't touch me." Rena flinched, then hardened. "Sam, please, just do what they're asking." Sam let herself be guided out, not because she agreed, but because the wife sobbing behind her sounded like a jury being formed in real time. The supervisor's office smelled like stale coffee and institutional air freshener, lemon trying to cover fear. Risk management was already there. Not later, already. A man in a suit stood when Sam entered. "Samira Ali, I'm Mr. Bivens." He slid a paper across the desk. "Standard administrative leave pending investigation." Sam stared at it. "My patient just died." Givens nodded with practiced sympathy. "And we're very sorry, but the medication record indicates—" "I didn't administer anything," Sam said, voice rising. "Check the cameras, check the staffing board. I was in trauma too." Givens smiled like she'd said something cute. "We will review all relevant material." Sam looked to the supervisor. "Tell him." The supervisor wouldn't meet her eyes. Sam turned to Rena. "Tell them." Rena's voice was small. "Sam, you were stressed. You've been doing overtime. Maybe you forgot you scanned—" Sam's vision tunneled. "Are you serious?" Rena's eyes watered. "I'm trying to help you." Help. Sam realized with a sudden cold clarity that Rena wasn't helping her. Rena was helping the hospital. Givens pushed the paper closer. "Sign here acknowledging receipt. Turn over your badge. Security will escort you out." Sam's breath caught. "Escort me out like I'm a criminal?" Givens' tone stayed pleasant. "This is procedure." Sam's hands shook as she reached for her badge. It felt like ripping off her own skin. She dropped it onto the desk. The plastic hit like a gavel. Ben appeared in the doorway, face tight. "Sam." Sam looked at him like the last stable thing in a room of shifting lies. "Tell them I didn't do it." Ben's eyes flicked to Hargrove's office down the hall, then back to Sam. Ben's voice lowered. I'll talk to them. Not, I'll testify. Not, I saw you. Just, I'll talk." Sam felt her heart crack in real time. Security arrived, 2 men, polite, firm, already treating her like a hazard. As they walked her through the ER, heads turned, whispers started. A nurse she barely knew pulled her phone out, thumb moving fast. Sam caught her reflection in a glass door, scrubs wrinkled, hair escaping her bun, eyes too wide. She looked guilty. That was the point. At the exit, Sam's phone buzzed. Unknown number. A video file. Hands shaking, she opened it. Grainy footage, someone near the med cabinet, a hand holding a badge. Her badge. The camera angle didn't show the face, but it showed something else. A wrist with a thin bracelet, a tiny charm shaped like a heart. Sam's stomach dropped. She knew that bracelet. Rena wore it every day. Sam looked up from the phone, breathless, and saw Rena standing inside the doors, watching her leave. Rena met Sam's eyes, and the smallest tremor passed over her mouth. Not apology, a warning. Sam's phone buzzed again. Text from the same unknown number. Check the 8 minutes. They're using you, and if you push back, you're next. Sam's knees went weak. She turned, but the security guard's hand touched her elbow, steering her forward. Outside, the cold Chicago air hit her like a slap. She was suspended. She was branded, and her best friend had her badge in the video. Sam opened her mouth to call Rena's name when her brother Amir finally texted back after hours of silence. "Sam, cops are here. They said you stole meds. What did you do?" Sam's blood turned to ice. I didn't remember the drive home. I remembered fragments. My hands locked around the steering wheel so hard my knuckles ached, the red lights smearing into one long warning, the taste of copper in my mouth like I'd bitten my tongue clean through, and Amir's text, "Cops are here. They said you stole meds. What did you do?" By the time I reached my building, the street looked wrong. 2 squad cars, headlights washing the sidewalk in harsh white. My stomach dropped so fast it felt like my organs lagged behind. I parked half-crook and ran. I didn't even lock the car. I didn't even breathe. Amir was on the curb with his hands cuffed behind his back. My little brother, 21, skinny, more bravado than sense, staring at the ground like he'd been turned into someone else's mistake. When he saw me, his face cracked. "Sam!" I pushed between 2 officers before I even knew I was moving. "That's my brother. What is happening?" One officer held out an arm, blocking me with the casual authority of someone used to bodies in the way. "Ma'am, step back." "Don't ma'am me," I snapped. My voice sounded feral. "Why is he in cuffs?" The older officer looked me up and down, eyes settling on my hospital scrubs like they were evidence. An anonymous tip came in. "Controlled substances, possible diversion. We're investigating." I felt my heart punch my ribs. Diversion from where? He didn't answer immediately. That pause said everything. "The hospital," I whispered. Amir's voice broke. "I didn't do anything, Sam, I swear. They came in and started asking about pills and—" "What pills?" I demanded, turning back to the officer. The older officer's expression stayed neutral, but his tone sharpened. "Ma'am, we have reason to believe narcotics were removed under your badge ID." "My badge isn't even—" "I turned it in. I was suspended tonight." The younger officer exchanged a glance with the older one. The older one nodded, like my words were an admission, not a defense. "Ma'am, we're executing a search. Please move." They didn't ask. They walked right into my apartment like it belonged to them. Amir looked at me, eyes wet with panic. "Sam, I didn't tell them anything." "I know," I whispered, even though I didn't know anything anymore. Inside, drawers opened, closets emptied. My life turned into piles. A detective, plainclothes, tired eyes, stood near my kitchen holding a small evidence bag. Inside, a pill bottle. My name on the label. My stomach flipped so hard I had to grab the counter. "That's not mine," I said. The detective raised an eyebrow. "It's in your apartment." "I have chronic migraines," I snapped. "That's an old prescription. That doesn't mean—" He cut me off. "The label date is last week." I stared. "That's impossible." He watched me carefully, waiting for me to trip over my own fear. The older officer called from the hallway. "We found a second bottle." My blood went cold. They brought it out like a trophy. No label, just white pills rattling like teeth. Amir made a sob, half curse. "I've never seen that in my life." My mouth opened, but no sound came out, because my brain was doing the math faster than my heart could keep up. The detective leaned closer, voice lower. "You want to explain why your brother's name came up with yours?" Amir's head snapped up. "My name didn't come up with hers. You're making that up." The older officer jerked Amir to his feet. Amir stumbled, metal cuffs biting into his wrists. I stepped forward automatically. "Please, he's a kid." Amir glared at me through tears. "I'm not a kid." He was, not by age, by softness, by the way he still believed the world had rules. The detective's voice stayed calm. "If you're innocent, cooperate." I want to scream. Cooperate with what? A story that had already been written. My phone buzzed. Unknown number again. "Don't talk to police without a lawyer. They're not trying to understand. They're trying to finish." My hands shook so badly I almost dropped the phone. I typed back with my thumb, invisible behind my leg. "Who are you?" No reply. Amir was led toward the cruiser. His eyes found mine, terrified and furious. "Sam, swear you didn't do this." I swallowed hard. "I swear." And the look on his face, relief mixed with dread, nearly broke me in half. As the door slammed, my phone buzzed again. A new message. "The cameras have a gap. 8 minutes. That's where they put you." 8 minutes? My body went cold all over. Because that wasn't random. That was surgical. Ben called me 20 minutes later. Not a text, a call. His voice sounded like he'd been running. "Sam, where are you?" "My apartment," I said, staring at the empty space on my couch where Amir's hoodie had been. "They took Amir." Silence. Then a curse Ben didn't usually allow himself. "Sam, listen," he said. "I checked what I could. The MAR entry, it's locked. Risk management flagged it." My stomach twisted. "So it's already official?" Ben swallowed audibly. "I'm not supposed to be doing this." I laughed once, sharp and broken. Neither was someone supposed to be scanning morphine under my badge. Ben's breath hitched. "Meet me. Now. Parking garage, level 3, 10 minutes. "Why?" "Because," Ben said, voice lowering, "there's a camera gap." My chest tightened. "You saw it?" "I didn't see it," he said. "I tried to pull it. It's missing. 8 minutes. Unrecoverable, they said." Unrecoverable. Like my mother's voice would have said if she were here, that's not a technical problem, that's a decision. I grabbed my jacket and walked back out into the night like I wasn't bleeding on the inside. The hospital garage smelled like exhaust and old concrete. Ben stood by a pillar, hoodie up, face pale under fluorescent lights. He didn't look like a doctor right then. He looked like a kid. He held his phone out. I recorded my screen. On the video, a security feed menu, a timeline scrub bar, and a blank stretch highlighted in gray. 2004 to 2012. Error. File corrupted. 8 minutes. My heart hammered. That's when my badge scanned. Ben nodded, eyes red-rimmed. Exactly. The system shows your badge at 8:07, and the camera file from 8:04 to 8:12 is corrupted. My voice came out thin. That's impossible. Ben's laugh was bitter. It's not impossible, it's convenient. I stared at the blank time window like it could explain why my brother was in a holding cell. Who has access to do that? I whispered. Ben hesitated. That hesitation was its own answer. Hargrove? I said. Ben flinched. I don't know. But, Sam, my attending pulled me aside after the code. She said if I misrepresented facts in a Sentinel event investigation, I'd be done. Fellowship, boards, everything. My throat tightened. And what did you say? Ben's eyes met mine. Shame flashed across his face. I said I'd be careful. I wanted to hate him for it, but I understood the math. That's how they win. They don't need everyone to lie. They only need everyone to be afraid. I forced my voice steady. Sam, did you see me give anything? No, he said immediately. You weren't even in that pod. Then tell them. Ben swallowed, staring past my shoulder like he couldn't look directly at the cliff he was standing near. Risk management is running it, not the unit. So what? I snapped. You're a physician. You were there. Ben's jaw clenched. Sam, I will, but if I go loud without proof, they'll crush both of us. Proof. I thought of the video I'd received, the hand holding my badge, the heart charm bracelet. Rena. My best friend. My lifeline. My executioner. I have something, I whispered. Ben's eyes sharpened. What? I showed him the grainy clip. Ben watched, face tightening. That looks like... It's Rena, I said, voice cracking. She wears that bracelet every day. Ben stared at me like I just told him gravity stopped working. Rena wouldn't. I felt something raw rise in my throat. You don't know people until they're cornered. Ben exhaled slowly. Sam, if we accuse her and we're wrong, we're already Ed, I cut in. They're arresting my brother. They're building a narcotics case. This isn't about one patient anymore. This is about making me disappear. Ben's phone buzzed. He glanced down. His face tightened. "What?" I demanded. Ben swallowed. "They just scheduled a fact-finding meeting. Tomorrow, 7 a.m., risk management. They want me there." My stomach dropped. "They're locking your story." Ben nodded once. "And if I show up without proof, I become their witness." A wave of cold steadied me. "Then we get proof tonight," I said. Ben blinked. "How?" I stared at the hospital entrance across the garage. The sliding doors looked harmless. They weren't. "We go back in," I said. Ben's eyes widened. "Sam, you're suspended." "I know," I said. "That's why they won't expect me." He hesitated, fear fighting loyalty. Then Ben nodded once, like he just stepped off a ledge. "Okay," he said, "but we do it smart."
Before we moved, I called Rena. Straight to voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. I texted, "Did you do this? Tell me the truth." No response. Ben's voice was tight. Maybe she's asleep, it's late. I laughed without humor. Nobody sleeps after a code blue like that. My phone buzzed. Rena, finally. One text. "Sam, stop. Don't fight this. Sign the papers. I'm trying to help you." Help. That word again, like a knife with a ribbon. My hands shook so hard I had to hold the phone with both hands to type back. "Did you take my badge?" 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. No reply. Ben watched my face and went still. "She's dodging." "She's not dodging," I whispered. "She's choosing." I felt something inside me harden. Not into cruelty, into clarity. If Rena was involved, she wasn't doing it because she hated me. She was doing it because someone had made her afraid enough to hurt me. And that meant the thing behind this was bigger than a grudge. Ben spoke quietly. "Sam, if the hospital can corrupt footage, what else can they do?" I looked at the hospital doors. "Whatever they want." Ben nodded once. "Then we move fast." Ben got us inside through a side badge access corridor used for overnight deliveries. He shouldn't have had access, but residents always knew doors. And secrets. We moved like we belonged, heads down, pace steady, because the quickest way to get caught is to look like you're sneaking. My heart hammered anyway. Every camera felt like an eye. Every hallway felt like a trap. We reached the IT/server corridor near the administrative offices, an area most nurses never entered unless they were lost or in trouble. Ben whispered, "Logs are stored on a separate server. If someone tampered, there might still be an access trail." "And if there isn't?" I whispered back. Ben's jaw tightened. "Then this place is cleaner than it should be." We turned the corner and froze. A security guard stood at the end of the hall talking to someone just out of view. Ben grabbed my elbow and pulled me back behind a vending alcove. We pressed into the shadow, breathing shallow. My pulse slammed. The guard's voice drifted towards us. "Yeah, Risk wants everything locked down. No one pulls footage without approval." A lower voice answered, calm, clipped. A voice I recognized, Mr. Givens from Risk Management. "And watch for Nurse Allie. She's emotional. Those are the ones who make scenes." My stomach turned. He was talking about me like I was a weather event. Ben's hand tightened on my arm. His eyes were wide, because now he knew it wasn't paranoia. It was policy. When the guard walked away, Ben mouthed, "Now." We moved. Fast. Ben swiped his badge at the server room door. Access denied. Ben's jaw tightened. They revoked me. My heart sank. So what now? Ben glanced down the hall, then at me. "There's a crash cart in storage. We could pull a fire alarm, create a diversion." I stared. "You want to set off an alarm in a hospital?" Ben's voice was grim. "They set one off in your life." My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. "VIP protocol binder. Donor suite. 6th floor. Start there." I stared at the message. Ben watched my face. "Who is that?" "I don't know," I whispered. "But they keep being right." Ben swallowed. 6th floor is admin and the old private wing. My skin prickled. The donor suite. Ben's gaze sharpened. "If there's a donor program, there's paperwork. And if there's paperwork," I said, voice low, "there's proof." We headed for the elevator.
Halfway there, my stomach clenched as I spotted something that made my blood go cold. A laminated sign taped to a wall phone. All media requests must be directed to risk management. No staff statements. They weren't investigating. They were controlling. Ben pressed the elevator button. It took too long. Every second felt like it was being counted by someone else. When the doors finally opened, we stepped in. Ben hit 6. The elevator rose, and my phone buzzed again, this time Amir. A voicemail notification. My hands shook as I pressed play. Amir's voice came through, muffled, terrified. "Sam, they said if you admit it, they'll let me go. They said you're already caught. Please, please don't let me sit here because of you." My knees nearly buckled. Ben caught my shoulder, steadying me. I swallowed hard. They're using him. Ben's jaw clenched. Then we make them stop. The elevator dinged. 6th floor. The doors opened onto carpeted silence. The kind of silence that said money lived here. We walked down a hallway lined with framed donor plaques and soft lighting that didn't belong in a hospital. It looked like a hotel pretending illness was impolite. A door at the end read, "Administration, authorized personnel only." Ben tried his badge. Denied. Again. He blew out a breath. Okay, bad plan. My eyes scanned the corridor. A housekeeping cart sat unattended near a supply closet. On top, a ring of keys. My heartbeat thudded. Ben followed my gaze and shook his head immediately. No. I stepped toward the cart anyway. Yes. Ben grabbed my arm. "Sam, if you get caught stealing keys..." "I'm already being framed for killing a donor," I hissed. "What's one more crime on paper?" Ben's face tightened with fear and something like admiration that scared him. I took the keys. My hands shook so badly the metal jingled too loud. I froze, listening. No footsteps. No voices. I tried the supply closet key. Click. Inside was a small administrative workspace. Printer, files, a desk with a computer asleep. And on the desk, exactly as the anonymous number promised, a binder labeled VIP Protocol, Larkin Program. My stomach turned. Ben whispered, "That's not a thing." "It's a thing," I whispered back, flipping it open. Inside were rules that made my skin crawl. No standard waiting room placement for VIP patients. Medication approvals may be expedited via admin override. Security to escort family to private entrance. All documentation to be reviewed by risk prior to chart finalization. Ben's face went pale. Risk reviews charts before they're final? I turned pages fast, heart hammering. Then I saw it, a section titled Controlled Substances, Special Handling, and beneath it a line that made my vision blur. Badge access may be delegated for operational efficiency. Delegated. Like my identity was a tool they could lend out. Ben whispered, "That's insane." I flipped to the back pocket of the binder. A laminated card fell out. A code. Admin Override, HGRV 61. Hargrove. Ben stared. "That's his." "I know," I whispered, hands shaking. This wasn't just a cover-up. This was an infrastructure built for plausible deniability. A system designed to blame someone disposable when something went wrong. Me. My phone buzzed again. Rena. "Sam, please, stop. You're making it worse." I stared at the text until my eyes burned. Ben watched me carefully. "We need to copy that binder." "I need the logs," I said, voice low. "I need the 8 minutes." Ben nodded. "Then we use that code." We moved back into the hallway and headed for the nearest terminal room, an admin workstation near the donor office. Ben entered the code into a secure screen prompt. It worked. For a second, I felt dizzy with the rush of it. We were inside the system that had crushed me. Ben's fingers flew across the keyboard, pulling access logs, badge scans, dispensing cabinet entries. My heart pounded so hard my ribs ached. A list loaded. Med dispense, 2007, badge Ali, Samira. Then another line beneath it, admin override HGRV61. Ben whispered, "There's the link." My breath shook. "Save it." Ben plugged in a USB drive from his pocket, cheap, unmarked. He'd planned for this. The progress bar crawled. Halfway through, footsteps sounded in the hallway. Slow, deliberate. Ben's head snapped up. The footsteps stopped outside the door. A soft knock, not accidental. The door handle turned, locked. A pause. Then the unmistakable sound of a key sliding into the lock. My blood turned to ice. Ben yanked the USB out early. The transfer wasn't complete. He mouthed, "Hide." I shoved myself behind a cabinet, heart hammering so loud I was sure it could be heard. The door opened. Dr. Hargrove stepped in, alone. No security, no entourage, just him, expensive calm in a sterile hallway. His eyes swept the room and landed on Ben. "Dr. Hargrove," his voice was quiet. "Dr. Klein." Ben stood, trying to look like he belonged. "Dr. Hargrove." Hargrove's gaze shifted, past Ben, straight to the cabinet where I hid. My stomach dropped. He knew. He smiled faintly, like a man confirming what he already believed. Then he held something up between two fingers. Plastic. Familiar. My badge. Hargrove's voice stayed quiet. "Looking for this?"
I stopped breathing. Hargrove didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. He stood in the doorway holding my badge like it was a leash, and I realized the worst part of powerful people wasn't what they did. It was how calm they stayed while doing it. Ben swallowed hard. "Dr. Hargrove, how did you—" Hargrove cut him off with a small smile. "You're not very subtle, Ben." Ben flinched at his first name. Hargrove's gaze lifted, locking onto the cabinet where I hid. "Nurse Allie, come out." My muscles went rigid. Ben's voice shook. "She's—" Hargrove's eyes snapped to him. "Don't lie to me." Ben stopped. I stepped out. My heart pounded so hard I could taste it. Hargrove tilted his head, studying me like I was a problem he could solve with the right paperwork. "You shouldn't be here." I laughed once, sharp and bitter. "Neither should my badge." Hargrove's smile didn't change. "This is a hospital. Things move." I snapped. "People die." His eyes cooled. "Yes, and when they do, the hospital must protect itself." My stomach twisted. "So you frame nurses?" Hargrove stepped closer, voice lowering. "Be careful, Sam. Accusations are dangerous when you have no standing." Ben's jaw clenched. "She has standing. She was with us in Trauma 2 at 8. Hargrove's gaze cut toward Ben like a scalpel. "And you will say that tomorrow?" Ben hesitated, just long enough to make my chest tighten. Hargrove watched that hesitation and smiled faintly. Then he held up my badge. "You know what this is, Sam?" "My identity," I said through clenched teeth. Hargrove shook his head. "No, it's a key. Keys get borrowed, misplaced, used." He leaned in, voice softer, crueler. "And the person holding the key is the person everyone blames when the door opens." My lungs tightened. "Why are you doing this?" Hargrove's eyes flicked, just once, to the VIP binder on the desk. He didn't answer. That was an answer. Ben's voice went low. "This is about the donor program." Hargrove's gaze snapped to Ben. "You don't know what you're talking about." Ben swallowed. "I know the camera is missing." A flicker, annoyance crossed Hargrove's face. There. Proof he could feel pressure. Hargrove straightened, composure sliding back into place. "You're both exhausted, emotional. Your judgment is compromised." He looked at me. "Sam, sign the resignation, cooperate, and your brother's situation becomes manageable." My stomach dropped. I heard Amir's voice in my head. "Please don't let me sit here because of you." Ben stiffened. "You're using her brother?" Hargrove's smile was thin. "I'm offering mercy." I stepped closer, shaking with rage. "Where's Rena?"
Hargrove's eyes held mine. Rena is doing her job. My skin prickled. She took my badge. Hargrove didn't deny it. He only said, Rena has a family. That landed like a threat dressed up in sympathy. Ben's voice tightened. If anything happens to Sam's brother, Hargrove cut him off, suddenly sharp. If anything happens to this hospital's reputation, you can kiss your career goodbye, both of you. Silence. Then Hargrove held my badge out toward me like a temptation. Go home, he said softly. Stop making noise. Let this settle. My hand shook. I didn't take it. Hargrove sighed, disappointed. Very well. He turned to leave. But before he stepped out, he paused and looked back at me. One more thing, he said. If you go to the police with rumors, you won't be a whistleblower, Sam. He smiled without warmth. You'll be a criminal trying to save herself. And then he walked away with my badge. Ben exhaled like he'd been holding his breath underwater. Sam, we need to get out. I stared at the terminal, at the half-copied logs on Ben's USB. We need proof, real proof, the 8 minutes. Ben's eyes were wide. We have enough to show. We have enough to get crushed, not enough to win. Ben looked at me, jaw tight. Then what? My phone buzzed. Unknown number again. Donor suite has its own elevator, private floor cameras. Find the janitor. He saw the badge.
I swallowed. We find someone who can't be controlled. Ben's voice was rough. Like who? People they don't bother threatening, I said, and we ran. We found him near the loading dock. Older man, gray hair, pushing a mop bucket like it was armor. Ben approached first. Sir, excuse me, we just have a question about... The janitor's eyes flicked to Ben's badge, then to my scrubs, then to the fear in our posture. He sighed like he'd seen this movie too many times. You're the nurse, he said quietly. My stomach clenched. You know me? He shrugged. We all know now. Shame burned my cheeks. Please, I need to know if you saw someone near the med cabinet around 8. The janitor's eyes narrowed. Why would I tell you anything, so they can fire me too? Ben swallowed. We're trying to stop them from blaming her. The janitor stared at me a long moment. Then he leaned closer, voice low. Gray hoodie, sneakers with red laces. Came in fast, head down. Used a badge. He paused. Not you. My heart hammered. Did you see the face? He shook his head. Camera would've, if it worked. Ben's jaw tightened. But it doesn't. The janitor's expression darkened. 8 minutes, he murmured like it tasted bitter. Always 8 minutes. I went still. Always? He met my eyes. You think you're the first? My stomach dropped. Ben whispered, How many? The janitor didn't answer directly. He only said, Don't trust who tells you to be quiet. My throat tightened. Was it Rena? He hesitated. That hesitation was a knife. A bracelet, he said finally. Heart charm. Same one she wears. My chest tightened, grief and rage tangling. Why would she... The janitor shrugged, tired. People do ugly things when they're scared. I swallowed hard. What about the donor floor? 6th floor, private suite. The janitor's eyes flicked away, then back. Private elevator, requires a card. He lowered his voice. You didn't hear it from me. Ben nodded. Thank you. The janitor pushed the mop bucket away, but then paused and looked back. Hey, he said, voice softer. Don't go alone. I almost laughed. That advice came too late. Ben and I ducked into a stairwell. My hands were shaking so badly I had to press them against the wall to steady. Ben whispered, If always 8 minutes is true, this is a system. I nodded, throat tight, which means there's a paper trail. Ben's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and went pale. What? I demanded. Ben swallowed. My attending. She wants me back upstairs now. My stomach dropped. She's pulling you in. Ben's eyes met mine, panic bright. If I don't go, they'll know I'm with you. And if you do go, I whispered, they'll lock your story. Ben's jaw clenched. Sam, I don't want to leave you. My voice cracked. Then don't.
Ben looked torn in half. For a second I thought he would choose survival. Then Ben exhaled and turned his phone off. "They already know," he said quietly, "so I'm done pretending." A hot rush of relief hit me so hard my eyes stung. "Okay," I whispered, "then we do this fast." We didn't have a donor card, but the janitor had told us something important. The donor suite had its own elevator, which meant its own camera system, which meant a second chance at the 8 minutes. We moved through back corridors until we found it, a plain door with an unmarked elevator behind it, hidden like shame. A keypad, a card reader. Ben stared. "We can't—" My phone buzzed. Unknown number. A photo this time. A donor access card lying on a countertop, badge number visible. Under it, supply room B, top drawer, 3 minutes. My pulse spiked. Someone is helping us. Ben's voice was tight. Or someone is baiting us. Maybe both, I whispered. We ran. Supply room B was unlocked. Too easy. Inside, shelves of gloves and gauze and sealed trays. A desk in the corner. Top drawer. My hands shook as I opened it. A donor access card sat inside as if it had been placed there 10 seconds ago. Ben exhaled sharply. "This is insane!" I grabbed it. "Let's go." Back at the private elevator, Ben swiped the card. Green light. Doors slid open silently. We stepped inside. Ben hit the only button, P6, private. The doors closed, sealing us in. My chest tightened. If we get caught... Ben's voice was grim. "We're already caught. We're just not officially dead yet." The elevator rose. My phone buzzed again. "Rena." I froze. Ben watched my face. "Answer." I pressed accept. Rena's voice came through, shaking. "Sam, what are you doing?" My throat tightened. "What did you do?" Rena inhaled sharply like she was swallowing something sharp. "I'm trying to keep you alive." "I took my badge," I said, voice cracking. "You let them take Amir." Rena made a small sound, pain or guilt. "They said, 'Who?'" I snapped. Rena's voice dropped. "Hargrove and Risk. They said if I didn't cooperate, they'd come for my kid. They showed me things, debts, my ex. My stomach lurched. "Rena!" "They didn't choose this," she whispered, "but I did it." My eyes burned. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because," Rena said, voice breaking, "I thought I could fix it quietly." Quietly. That word again. Quiet like a coffin. The elevator dinged. Doors opened. We stepped onto the private floor. The donor suite looked like a luxury clinic from a brochure. Leather chairs, soft lighting, artwork that cost more than my car. A man in a suit stood near a reception desk, not hospital security. Private. His eyes narrowed as he saw us. Ben raised his chin like he belonged. "We're here for chart review." The man's gaze flicked to my scrubs, then to Ben's face, and I watched recognition settle. "Names?" Ben's voice stayed steady. "Dr. Klein." The man's eyes sharpened. "You're not assigned." Ben didn't blink. "Dr. Hargrove requested it." That name worked like a key. The man hesitated, then stepped aside. 5 minutes. We moved fast. Behind the reception area, a small office door stood slightly open. I slipped inside and froze. Monitors. Camera feeds. One screen showed the medication dispensing cabinet area, different angle than the main unit cameras. My heart slammed. Ben whispered, "This is it." I leaned in, hands shaking, and scrubbed back through the footage timeline to 8 p.m. My breath caught. There it was, the cabinet. There was the gray hoodie. There was the heart charm bracelet flashing briefly as the person lifted a badge. My badge. Ben whispered, "Get the face." The hoodie figure turned slightly, and I saw a jawline, a mouth, a nose. Not mine, not Rena's. My stomach dropped. Ben's eyes widened. "That's..." A voice behind us cut through the air like a blade. "What are you doing in here?" We spun. A woman stood in the doorway, sleek hair, blazer, hospital ID that read Donor Relations. Her eyes flicked to the monitors, then to my face, and I watched recognition settle. "You're the nurse," she said slowly. My throat tightened. "Move." She didn't move. Instead, she stepped back and reached for something at her hip. Radio, phone, alarm. Ben lunged, slapping her hand away. She gasped and tried to scream. I grabbed her wrist, voice shaking with rage. "Who wore the hoodie?" She stared at me, terrified. I don't know what you're... I shoved the monitor forward so she could see. That's my badge. That's my life. Her eyes flicked to the screen and widened. Then quietly she said, "You shouldn't have come up here." That wasn't a denial. That was a warning. Ben's voice was low. "Save the footage." I tore a USB from Ben's pocket, jammed it into the monitor system, and copied the clip with shaking hands. The progress bar crawled. Footsteps sounded outside, fast. The donor relations woman shouted into her radio, "They're here on P6. Her voice cut off as a door slammed somewhere. We sprinted back toward the elevator, but when we reached it, the doors were open, and Dr. Hargrove stood inside, waiting. He looked at the USB in my hand and sighed. "You really don't understand." Ben stepped in front of me. "Back off." Hargrove's gaze flicked to Ben, unimpressed, then back to me. "I offered you mercy. You chose chaos." My heart pounded. "Who wore the hoodie?" Dr. Hargrove's smile was faint. "Someone who needed money. Someone who follows instructions." "And Rena?" My voice cracked. "What did you do to Rena?" Hargrove's eyes stayed calm. "This is a hospital. People get hurt. I prevent larger harm." My eyes burned. "You create it." Hargrove took one more step, low. "Give me the USB, Sam." I tightened my grip until my fingers hurt. "No." Hargrove's gaze held mine. "Then your brother spends the night in jail." My lungs seized. "Ben," whispered. "Sam." I swallowed hard, shaking. "Rena said you threatened her kid." Hargrove's face didn't change. "This is a hospital. People get hurt. I prevent larger harm." My eyes burned. "You create it." Hargrove took one more step, low. "Give me the USB, Sam." I tightened my grip until my fingers hurt. "No." Hargrove's gaze held mine. "Then your brother spends the night in jail." My lungs seized. "Ben," whispered. "Sam." I swallowed hard, shaking. "Rena said you threatened her kid." Hargrove's face didn't change. "This is a hospital. People get hurt. I prevent larger harm." My eyes burned. "You create it." Hargrove took one more step, low. "Give me the USB, Sam." I tightened my grip until my fingers hurt. "No." Hargrove's gaze held mine. "Then your brother spends the night in jail." My lungs seized. "Ben," whispered. "Sam."
I swallowed hard, shaking. "Rena said you threatened her kid." Hargrove's face didn't change. "This is a hospital. People get hurt. I prevent larger harm." My eyes burned. "You create it." Hargrove took one more step, and I did the only thing I could think of. I threw the USB, not at him, past him, down the hallway where it skittered under a cabinet in the open. Hargrove's eyes flashed. Ben shoved him backward hard. The elevator door started to close automatically. Ben slammed the open button. I dove, arm outstretched, grabbing the USB from under the cabinet just as the doors began to shut again. Ben grabbed me and yanked me into the elevator. The doors closed on Hargrove's face. For 1 second, his composure cracked. Pure hatred. Then the doors sealed and we dropped. Ben's chest heaved. "You got it?" I held up the USB like it was oxygen. "I got it." My phone buzzed. Rena again. This time, a call. I answered immediately. "Rena, listen." Rena's voice came out strangled. "Sam, I can't do this anymore." My stomach dropped. "Where are you?" "In my car," she whispered. "Parking garage. I have something for you. Proof. Real proof. But, Sam, if I hand it to you, he'll..." A sound in the background. A car door opening. Rena gasped. "No!" "Rena?" I snapped. Her breathing turned frantic. "Sam, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Tell my..." A scream cut her off. High, sharp, one single scream that punched straight through my chest. Then a thud. Silence. My throat closed. "Rena?" A shuffle, a small metallic sound. Keys? Phone? Then a man's voice, low and calm, filled my ear. "Stop digging, Nurse Ali," he said. My blood turned to ice, because I knew that voice. Not Hargrove. Mr. Givens. Risk management. I stood in the stairwell with the phone pressed to my ear, listening to nothing. No breath, no traffic, no Rena. Just dead air and my own heartbeat pounding like it wanted out of my body.
Ben's hand closed around my shoulder. "Sam, what happened?" My voice wouldn't work. I stared at the phone screen like if I stared hard enough, Rena would come back. Ben grabbed the phone gently from my hand and replayed the last seconds, Givens's voice smooth and final. Ben went pale. "That's risk." I swallowed hard. "He has her." Ben's jaw tightened. "We have to call." "No," I snapped, sharper than I meant. Ben flinched. I forced my voice steadier. "If we call, they'll say she's unstable. They'll say she ran. They'll say I'm harassing staff. They control the narrative." Ben stared at me, fear in his eyes. "Sam, this is bigger than the hospital." I nodded once, throat burning. "I know." My phone buzzed. A text from Amir. "They won't let me call again. Please, Sam, just fix it." My knees weakened. Ben caught my elbow. "Okay, we do this right. We get you a lawyer." "A lawyer costs money," I whispered, "and I just got suspended." Ben's eyes hardened. "Then we go to someone who hates Hargrove." I stared at him. "Who?" Ben said, "Board member Dr. Morrow." The silver-haired woman, the one who'd thrown Hargrove out of a meeting last year for pressuring staff. I shook my head. "How do we even reach her?" Ben's mouth tightened. "I know her assistant." A sharp knock echoed in the stairwell. Ben froze. So did I. Another knock, harder, impatient. Ben's voice dropped. "That's security." My chest tightened. "They tracked us." Ben cursed under his breath. "We need to move." We slipped down 2 flights, pushed through a side exit, and emerged into the cold night air behind the hospital. My lungs burned, my hands shook, my whole body felt like it was trying to outrun fear. Ben pulled me behind a dumpster. "Listen to me. We have the donor footage on the USB. We have the VIP binder info. That's leverage." "Leverage doesn't bring Rena back," I whispered. Ben's voice softened, urgent. "It might, if she's alive." The possibility hurt more than the certainty. My phone buzzed again. A call. Unknown number. I answered with shaking fingers. "Hello?" Mr. Givens's voice slid into my ear like oil. "Samira Ali?" Rage surged so hot I saw white. "Where is she?" He chuckled softly. "You're emotional. That's been noted." "Where is Rena?" I repeated, each word shaking. Givens sighed as if I was inconvenient. "This can end tonight. Quietly." My stomach clenched. "What do you want?" "A signature," he said. "You resign permanently. You sign the NDA. You agree not to discuss the Larkin case. In exchange, Amir's charges go away." Ben's eyes widened beside me. My voice cracked. "And Rena?" A pause, then smooth. "Rena is not your concern." My chest tightened. "She's my friend." Givens' voice was bored. "Friends are temporary. Liability is forever." I wanted to throw up. Ben leaned in, whispering, "Put him on speaker." I hit speaker. Givens continued, "You have until morning. If you refuse, we proceed. The hospital will cooperate with prosecutors. The narcotics investigation becomes public. Your license will be reviewed." Ben's voice cut in steadily. "This is extortion." Silence. Then Givens laughed softly. "Dr. Klein, how noble of you to join." Ben's jaw clenched. "So is my conscience." Givens sighed as if he expected less. "Fine, I'll send both of you the meeting details." The call ended. I stared at the phone like it was radioactive. Ben's voice was low. "We're recording everything from now on." I swallowed. "We need to save Amir." Ben nodded, eyes hard. "And we need to stop them from doing this to the next nurse." I looked back at the hospital, lights glowing in the night like nothing inside could be rotten. I whispered, "I won't sign." Ben's gaze held mine. "Then we go to war." At 6:59 a.m., I walked into a conference room with a paper cup of water and no badge. Givens sat at the far end of the table like he'd been waiting his whole life to watch people break. 2 lawyers beside him, 1 hospital administrator. No Rena. Ben sat next to me, posture stiff, eyes red-blooded. Givens slid a folder across the table. "This is a standard separation agreement." I opened it with shaking hands. NDA, permanent resignation, no admission of wrongdoing, a severance amount that looked generous until you realized it was buying your silence forever. I looked up. "Where is Rena?" Givens smiled faintly. "Rena is safe." My voice shook. Safe where? Givens didn't answer. He tapped the folder. Sign, and your brother walks. My throat burned. If I sign, you keep doing this. Givens' expression stayed mild. If you don't sign, you lose everything and still won't change anything. Ben's voice got tight. You're wrong. Givens' eyes flicked to Ben. Doctor, you're emotional too. I stared at the signature line, feeling Amir's fear like it was pressed into my skin. I imagined him in a cell, thinking I had abandoned him. I imagined my mother getting that phone call. Your son is in custody. Your daughter is involved. I wanted to scream. Instead, I pushed the folder back. No. Givens blinked once like he hadn't expected resistance. Then he smiled wider. Very well, he said softly. Then we proceed. He stood and walked to the door. Before he left, he paused and looked at me. You'll learn, he murmured. Hospitals don't run on truth. They run on trust. And we decide who gets it. He left. The door clicked shut like a coffin closing. Ben exhaled shakily. Okay, we do it the hard way. I stared at the empty seat where Rena should have been. I whispered, we do it for her too. Ben got his 10 minutes with Dr. Morrow's assistant, a woman named Claudia with sharp eyes and a voice that didn't waste time. We met in a quiet hallway near admin offices. Claudia kept glancing around like she expected walls to report her. Ben spoke quickly. We have evidence of a donor suite security feed showing someone using Sam's badge. We have admin override codes linked to Hargrove. Claudia's face tightened. You realize what you're saying. Sam's throat burned. They framed me. They arrested my brother. Claudia's eyes flicked to my scrubs. And Risk offered you an NDA. I stiffened. How did you... Claudia's mouth twisted. Because this isn't new. My stomach dropped. How many? Claudia didn't answer directly. She only said, Dr. Morrow will want proof that holds up in a board meeting. Ben nodded. We have a USB. Claudia hesitated. If you hand it to the board, they may bury it. My pulse spiked. Then what do we do? Claudia's gaze sharpened. You make it impossible to bury. Ben's voice got low. Public? Claudia nodded once. At the board meeting, with multiple copies, and a witness. My throat tightened. Rena! Claudia's eyes softened for half a second. If she's alive. I swallowed hard. She is. I didn't know that, but I needed it to be true. Claudia leaned closer, voice firm. Board meeting is tonight, 7 p.m. If you want Morrow's support, you need to be there and you need to be ready. Ben nodded. We will. As Claudia turned to leave, she paused. Doctor, she said to Ben, choose your side now because they will ask you to lie. Ben's jaw clenched. I already chose. Claudia walked away and Ben looked at me. His eyes were scared, but steady. For the first time since the code, I believed him.
We sat in Ben's car in a quiet side lot, the winter air fogging the windows. Ben stared at the steering wheel like it had answers. Sam, he said quietly, I need to tell you something. My stomach clenched. What? Ben swallowed. After the death, Hargrove pulled me into his office. My skin went cold. And? Ben's voice shook. He had the chart open. He told me what to write in my note. He said, if the note didn't support medication error, Risk would make problems for my training. My throat tightened. Did you change it? Ben's eyes filled. Yes. The word hit me like a slap. Ben flinched as if he expected me to hit him. I'm sorry, he whispered. I told myself it was just wording, that it didn't matter. But then Amir. My voice cracked. You helped them. Ben nodded, tears threatening. I know. Silence filled the car, thick and ugly. I stared at Ben and felt two truths collide inside me. He had betrayed me, and he was here now, risking everything to fix it. My voice was low. Will you tell the board? Ben wiped his face with the heel of his hand. Yes. I swallowed. Even if it ends your career? Ben's laugh was bitter. If I keep the career and lose myself, what's the point? My eyes burned. I nodded once. Okay. We sat in silence for a moment. Then Ben reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. From now on, he said, We record everything. He hit record, and the tiny red dot felt like the first honest thing I'd seen in 24 hours. At 6:40 p.m., Ben and I walked toward the boardroom entrance with Claudia's instructions echoing in my head. Make it impossible to bury. I had 3 copies of the USB, one in my pocket, one taped under my bra strap like contraband, one hidden in my shoe. Ben had emailed an encrypted copy of the donor suite footage to a private address neither of us had used before. We were ready, or as ready as you can be when your life is being dismantled by people in suits. The security checkpoint outside the boardroom looked tighter than usual. 2 guards, clipboards, a list. The moment they saw me, one guard stepped forward, blocking the hallway. "Nurse Ollie," he said flatly, "you're not authorized." Ben's voice snapped. "She's a key witness." The guard didn't blink. "She's under investigation." My heart hammered. "Move!" The guard's eyes narrowed. "Ma'am, don't escalate." Behind the guard, I saw Mr. Givens. He stood just far enough back to look uninvolved, like a puppeteer watching strings. He smiled faintly at me and mouthed one word: "Sign." Rage surged so hard my hands shook. I stepped forward anyway. The guard reached for my arm, and a voice behind me said, "Samira Ali." I turned. 2 uniformed officers stood there. My stomach dropped through the floor. One officer held out paperwork. "We have a warrant for your arrest. Tampering with evidence, trespassing, theft of hospital property." Ben's face went white. "This is retaliation." The officer's expression stayed neutral. "Ma'am, turn around." My lungs locked. If they cuffed me here, publicly, outside the boardroom, the story would be done. Nurse goes rogue. Nurse breaks in. Nurse guilty. Givens's smile widened slightly. Ben stepped forward, voice shaking with fury. "You can't do this." The officer's hand moved toward his cuffs. My heart pounded so hard my vision blurred. I backed up automatically. 1 step, 2. And then the guard's hand touched my arm again. I yanked away and ran. I ran because I could not let them put my wrists in metal while my brother sat in a cell believing I'd failed him. I ran into the stairwell. Footsteps thundered behind me. I took the stairs 2 at a time, lungs burning. A voice shouted, "Stop!" I didn't. I rounded a landing, and a hand shot out of the darkness, grabbed my wrist, and yanked me into a supply closet so fast I barely had time to gasp. The door slammed. The closet was pitch black. I raised my fist to hit whoever had pulled me in. A whisper, shaking, stopped me. "Sam, it's me." My breath caught. "Rena." A small light flicked on, dim, yellow, and there she was, bruised on her cheek, hair messy, eyes wide with terror. In her trembling hand, a flash drive. "I have the 8 minutes," she whispered. The stairwell door slammed so hard, the metal frame shuddered. Sam's breath ripped in and out like she'd been running for her life, because she had. 2 floors below, security radios crackled. Above her, heavy footsteps hit the concrete steps in a steady hunting rhythm. "Samira Ali, stop moving!" A flashlight beam sliced across the stairwell wall, blinding white. Sam backed up until her shoulders hit the cold cinder block. Her hands were shaking, half raised like surrender, half ready to fight. She could already picture the headline the hospital wanted. "Nurse tampered with evidence after fatal error. Arrested." Ben's words echoed from earlier, desperate. "They don't just want you gone, they want you believable." The footsteps came closer. Then another door, higher up, creaked open. A figure stepped into the stairwell light and whispered, urgent and shaking, "Sam, it's me." Sam's heart lurched. Rena. Bruised cheek, split lip, eyes wide with a terror that looked like it had been taught. In her hand was a small flash drive, pinched like it might explode. "I have the 8 minutes," Rena said. And behind Sam, the flashlight beam snapped toward them. "Found you!" Rena's fingers closed around Sam's wrist. "Now move!" Rena yanked Sam through a narrow door into a dark supply closet that smelled of bleach and paper towels. She slammed the door and slid down it, chest heaving. Sam didn't sit. Sam didn't breathe. She just stared at Rena's face, at the bruises, the swelling, the fact that Rena looked like someone had taken their time. "You're alive," Sam said, and hated how weak it sounded. Rena nodded once fast. "Not for long if we do this wrong." Sam stepped closer, voice sharpening. "You framed me." Rena flinched as if the words were physical. She swallowed. "I used your badge, yes." My vision tunneled. "Why?" Rena's eyes flooded, but she blinked the tears away like she didn't deserve them. "Because they had my mom's mortgage, because they had my sister's record, because I thought if I did what they wanted, they'd stop. They never stop." Sam's hands curled into fists. "Who?" Rena looked at the floor, then up, and when she said the name, it came out like a confession in church. "Hargrove." My stomach turned to ice. Rena held up the flash drive, fingers trembling. "This is the camera gap, the real footage, the didn't save part." Sam stared. "How did you get it?" Rena's laugh was raw. "I didn't get it. They made me hold it. Insurance, to keep me obedient." Her eyes flicked to the door. "Then they decided I was too scared to use it, so they stopped guarding me." Sam's throat burned. "You could have cleared me." Rena's lips shook. "I know." A radio crackled outside the closet door. A security voice. "Check all supply rooms. She can't be far." Sam's heart hammered. "We don't have time for your guilt." Rena nodded sharply. "Good, because guilt doesn't save anyone." Sam snatched the flash drive. "What's on it?" Rena swallowed hard. "You want the truth? You're not gonna like it." Sam leaned in. "Try me." Rena's voice dropped. "They didn't accidentally overdose Larkin. They were covering something he threatened to expose. The VIP program isn't just special treatment, it's a pipeline." "A pipeline for what?" Sam's mouth drew dry. Rena's eyes went distant for a second, like she was seeing it again. "For controlled meds, for favors, for donors who don't want records. They call it care continuity. It's not care, it's bribery with a pulse." Sam's hands shook around the drive. "And Larkin?" Rena whispered. "They started asking questions about who had access to his chart. He threatened to pull funding and go public." Sam's chest tightened. "So they killed him?" Rena didn't say yes. She didn't say no. She just looked at Sam like the answer was the air they were both breathing. Outside, the footsteps stopped right at their door. The knob turned. Rena's eyes widened. "Sam!" Sam made a decision so clean it felt like snapping a bone back into place. She shoved the flash drive into her bra, safe, close, impossible to misplace, then grabbed a mop handle from the corner like a bat. When the door creaked open, Sam swung. The mop handle cracked against the intruder's shoulder, a grunt, a stumble backward. Not a cop, not hospital security. A man in a suit, risk management, Mr. Givens. He stared at... The mop handle cracked against the intruder's shoulder. A grunt, a stumble backward. Not a cop, not hospital security. A man in a suit, risk management, Mr. Givens. He stared at Sam, stunned, then his eyes hardened into something viciously calm. "Violence," he said. "Excellent. That plays well." Sam's voice shook with rage. "Where's the warrant now, Givens?" Givens lifted his phone. "Already rolling. Nurse attacks administrator while evading arrest." Rena made a strangled sound behind Sam. Sam's mind raced. He didn't come alone. This wasn't retrieval. This was capture and narrative. Sam stepped toward him low and dangerous.
You want a story? Here's one. You're going to watch me ruin yours. Gibbons smiled thinly. You're not leaving this closet. A second figure stepped into view behind him. Dr. Hargrove. White coat, calm face, eyes like an empty elevator. Samira, Hargrove said softly, you're exhausted. Let's end this. Sam's stomach dropped. You're not supposed to be here. The board meeting? Hargrove's smile didn't touch his eyes. I control what's supposed to happen. Rena started shaking, full body. You said you'd stop. Hargrove looked at Rena as if she were a stain. I said you'd keep your job. Sam's grip tightened on the mop handle. Back up. Hargrove didn't. He stepped closer, voice still gentle. Give me the drive. Sam's heart hammered. He knew. Of course he knew. Sam backed up until she felt Rena behind her, trapped between bleach shelves and two men who wore power like perfume. Hargrove's tone shifted just a degree. Samira, you're about to make this worse for your brother. Sam's blood went cold. Leave Amir out of this. Hargrove's eyes glinted. Then cooperate. Rena suddenly moved, fast, desperate. She lunged past Sam and ripped Gibbons' phone from his hand. Gibbons shouted. Hargrove snapped, Rena! Rena hurled the phone across the hallway. It shattered against the tile like a gunshot. For half a second, everyone froze. Rena's voice shook, loud enough to carry. I'm done! Sam grabbed Rena's arm. Run! They ran.
The hospital's executive floor was quiet in the way rich spaces are quiet. Carpet thick enough to swallow panic. Sam's lungs burned as she and Rena sprinted down the hallway. Behind them, doors opened, voices rose, security radios screamed. Rena panted. Board meeting is in Conference A, end of hall. Sam glanced at Rena. If we go in there, you're admitting everything. Rena's eyes were wet but fierce. I already did. I just did it out loud. Sam's throat tightened. They'll destroy you. Rena swallowed hard. They already tried. They rounded the corner and saw the double doors. Two uniformed security guards stood outside, hands clasped, faces blank. Sam slowed, heart sinking. The hospital had thought of everything. One guard stepped forward. Ma'am, you're trespassing. Turn around. Sam's mind flashed. Cuffs on a mirror, her badge on a desk, co-workers whispering, her mother's voice in her head telling her to keep her head down. No. Sam straightened. I'm not trespassing. I'm a nurse here, and there is an active cover-up involving a patient death. The guard's expression didn't change. Turn around. Behind them, footsteps thundered closer. Hargrove, Gibbons, and whoever else they'd summoned. Sam looked at Rena. Rena's hands trembled. Then a voice cut through the hallway. Cold, controlled, authoritative. Let them in. A woman stepped from the side corridor in a tailored suit, hospital ID clipped neatly. Eleanor Sato, board member. Sam had seen her face in hospital newsletters. She was the kind of board member who donated money but hated being lied to. Sato's eyes flicked to Sam's face, then to Rena's bruises. What happened to her? Sato asked quietly. Rena's voice cracked. They did. Sato's gaze sharpened and the air shifted. Open the doors. The security guards hesitated. Sato's voice turned razor sharp. Now. They opened the boardroom doors. Sam and Rena stepped inside, and the room fell silent like someone had cut the power. A long conference table, executives in suits, legal counsel, the CEO, department heads, and at the far end, Dr. Hargrove, already seated as if he hadn't just chased them. Sam's stomach dropped. He'd looped around. He'd been prepared. He smiled at Sam, calm as ever, like she was late to a meeting. Ben was there too, standing near the wall, face pale, eyes locked on Sam with a mix of relief and fear. Sato spoke first, crisp. We have an urgent matter. Nurse Ali and Nurse Rena Patel are requesting the floor. The CEO frowned. Eleanor, this isn't on the agenda. Sato's voice didn't soften. Then consider it an emergency agenda. Sam's hands shook as she walked forward. Every eye in the room pinned her like a specimen. Hargrove spoke smoothly. This is inappropriate. Nurse Ali is under investigation. Sam's voice came out stronger than she expected. Because you put me under investigation.
A murmur rippled. Hargrove's smile remained. "Samira, you are spiraling." Ben flinched. Sam turned her head slightly, catching Ben's eyes. Ben's jaw tightened like he was making a decision that hurt. Sam faced the room again. "A patient died. My badge was used while I was in trauma too. The medication room camera has an 8-minute gap during that window." Legal counsel leaned forward. "That gap was reported as a technical failure." Rena laughed, broken. "It wasn't technical. It was intentional." Hargrove's gaze snapped to Rena, warning. Rena's voice trembled but held. "He made me do it. He made me use Sam's badge." The room erupted in shocked whispers. Hargrove's tone went lethal calm. "Rena, you are confused." And Sato cut in sharply. "Dr. Hargrove, do not intimidate a witness in my boardroom." Hargrove blinked once, a crack, microscopic but real. Sam reached into her bra and pulled out the flash drive. Every heartbeat in the room seemed to pause. Sam set it on the table. "This," Sam said, voice shaking, "is the missing 8 minutes." The CEO's face tightened. "What is that?" Sato held out her hand. "Give it to me." Sam slid it across. Sato plugged it into the conference room computer with the calm of a surgeon. Hargrove rose half an inch from his chair. "Eleanor, you can't. Patient privacy." Sato's eyes didn't look at the screen. "Then you should have cared about privacy before you started forging records." The video opened. Grainy footage, medication room, the cabinet, the badge scanner. Timestamp, 8:07 p.m. The camera angle widened, wider than the hospital's official version. Someone had saved the raw file. A figure entered wearing a gray hoodie. Not Sam, not Ben, not anyone in the room. The figure approached the cabinet and, clear as day, used an admin override. Then the figure held up a badge, Sam's badge. The camera caught the badge number, no denying it. A board member whispered, "Jesus." The figure opened the drawer and removed medication. Then the figure stepped out, and the camera caught a second figure entering the frame, Rena. Rena in scrubs, Rena's heart charm bracelet glinting under fluorescent light. Rena's shoulders hunched like she was bracing for impact. On the video, Rena took the medication from the hoodie figure's hand. She stared at it, then she scanned it under Sam's badge. Rena sobbed in the real boardroom, watching her own betrayal play out on a screen. On the video, a third figure appeared at the doorway, Dr. Hargrove. Clear face, clear posture, clear authority. Hargrove didn't look surprised. He looked in charge. On the video, Hargrove spoke, no audio, but his mouth moved in a short instruction. Rena nodded. Then Hargrove reached out and removed something from his pocket, an ID card. He swiped it against the cabinet's admin panel. The screen flashed, admin code accepted. Sato paused the video, eyes like ice. "Dr. Hargrove, is that you?" Hargrove's face had gone still, too still. "This proves nothing about the patient's death. It proves a nurse violated protocol." Sam's voice broke with rage. "Because you ordered it." Hargrove's gaze snapped at Sam. "Watch your accusations." Ben suddenly stepped forward, voice sharp and shaking. "It's not an accusation. I saw the override in real time earlier. I saw the cabinet open when no one badged in." Hargrove stared at Ben, fury flickering. Ben kept going, words tumbling out like he'd been holding his breath for days. "And after Mr. Larkin died, I was told to change my note, to soften the timeline, to remove mention of the cabinet." The room went silent again, this silence different, heavier, real. Legal counsel stood. "Dr. Klein, who told you that?" Ben's eyes flicked to Hargrove, then away, like it physically hurt. "Risk management, Mr. Givens." A door slammed open. Mr. Givens stormed into the boardroom, breathing hard, face flushed. Security followed. He froze when he saw the video paused on screen, Hargrove's face in the medication room. For the first time, Givens looked afraid. Hargrove's voice snapped. "Eleanor, stop this now." Sato didn't blink. "Sit down, doctor." Hargrove didn't. He moved fast around the table towards the computer. Sam reacted without thinking. She stepped into his path. Hargrove's eyes met hers, cold, furious, almost impressed. "You think you won," he hissed, low only she could hear. "I don't understand what you've just started." Sam's voice shook, but she didn't move. "I understand exactly. You're done." Hargrove reached to shove past her, and security grabbed him. Not hospital security. 2 uniformed officers stepped in behind them. Real police. The kind the hospital didn't control. Officer Ramirez, Sam recognized him from the night Amir was cuffed, walked in holding a folder. His eyes landed on Sam, then on Hargrove, then on the frozen video. He exhaled through his nose like a man realizing he'd been lied to. "Dr. Hargrove," Ramirez said, "we have probable cause regarding evidence tampering, coercion, and potential criminal negligence." Hargrove's face twisted. "This is absurd." Ramirez's voice stayed flat. "Turn around." The click of cuffs in a boardroom sounds like a sermon. Rena collapsed into a chair, sobbing. Sam stood frozen, chest heaving, as Hargrove's power was finally made physical. Metal around wrists, security escorting him out, executives staring at the man they treated like a god. Givens tried to speak. "We need to discuss—" Sato pointed at him without looking. "You as well." Givens' mouth opened, then shut. For once, the narrative wasn't his. The boardroom chaos spilled into corridors. Statements were taken, phones rang. The CEO looked like someone had pulled the floor out from under him. Ben sat with his head in his hands, shaking like the adrenaline had finally found a place to go. Sam found herself in a smaller room with Officer Ramirez. Rena sat beside her, wrapped in a blanket someone had thrown around her shoulders. She looked smaller now, like the fight had drained out and left only the damage. Ramirez slid papers across the table. "We're dropping the charges against your brother. The tip came through a private line tied to hospital administration. That's going to be investigated." Sam's throat tightened so hard she could barely speak. "I didn't do anything." Ramirez nodded. "I believe you." Sam blinked hard, eyes burning. The relief hurt. She'd been carrying fear like a second spine. Ramirez added, "Your badge was reported temporarily misplaced in your locker last week." Sam's stomach turned. "It was stolen." Rena whispered, "I took it." Sam closed her eyes, letting the pain wash through. When she opened them, she looked at Rena. Rena didn't meet her gaze. "I'm sorry," she said, voice shredded. "I wanted to tell you 100 times. Every time I tried, I heard his voice in my head, what he'd do to my family." Sam's voice cracked. "You let them take mine." Rena nodded, sobbing silently. "I know." Sam sat back, exhausted down to the bone. Anger still lived in her, hot and real, but beneath it was something worse. Understanding. Not forgiveness, not yet, but understanding how fear turns people into tools. 2 weeks later, the ER looked the same from the outside. Same fluorescent lights, same alarms, same stretchers lined up like a never-ending sentence. But inside, the air had changed. People looked at Sam differently, not with whispers, but with a wary respect that made her uncomfortable. She wasn't a rumor anymore. She was proof. Sam walked into the break room to find Ben there, hair messier than usual, eyes tired. He stood awkwardly. "Hey." Sam nodded. "Hey." Ben swallowed. "I'm sorry I hesitated." Sam stared at him, letting the silence do its work. Ben's voice went quiet. "I thought if I fought him, I'd lose everything." Sam's expression softened just a fraction. "And then you fought him anyway." Ben nodded, eyes shining. "Because watching you get crushed, I realized I'd lose myself." Sam exhaled slowly. "That's the part people don't talk about." Ben gave a pained half-smile. "Are you coming back to nights?" Sam glanced at the schedule posted on the wall. Her name was back where it belonged. But it didn't feel like a victory parade. It felt like returning to a battlefield after surviving a bomb. "Yeah," Sam said. "I'm coming back." Ben hesitated. "Rena?" Sam's chest tightened. "She resigned. She's cooperating." Ben nodded carefully. "Are you okay?" Sam almost laughed, almost cried. Instead, she said the truth that felt like swallowing glass. "I don't know, but I'm here." Her phone buzzed. A text from Amir. "They officially cleared me. I'm coming by after work. You want tacos?" Sam's eyes burned. She typed back, "Yes, and you're paying." A second message came in. Unknown number. Sam's breath caught. It's Rena. New number. I'm safe. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'm grateful you didn't let them make you disappear. Sam stared at the screen for a long time. Then she typed, hands shaking. Stay safe. Tell the truth. That's how you pay me back. She didn't add, I forgive you. Not yet. But she didn't add, I hate you either. That, for now, was mercy. Sam left the break room and stepped back into the ER. A patient's family was crying at triage. A toddler wailed. A man shouted that no one was listening. The chaos didn't pause for her redemption arc, but Sam did. She walked over, lowered her voice, met a stranger's eyes, and did what she'd always done. She helped. And this time she did it with the kind of clarity that only comes after you've watched power try to erase you and failed. Because the lesson wasn't be brave. Sam had been terrified. The lesson was simpler and harder. Silence doesn't keep you safe. It just makes you useful to people who aren't. And real friendship isn't who laughs with you on easy shifts. It's who tells the truth when the truth costs them. Sam clipped on her new badge, fresh plastic, same name, and stepped into the noise like she belonged there. Not because the hospital was pure now, but because she was.